Picture yourself standing outside a billionaire's palace, its golden doors gleaming under the Florida sun, meticulously manicured lawns stretching towards the horizon, and guards everywhere you look. This is supposed to be the ultimate stronghold, an icon of security, exclusivity, and power. If Hollywood directors were to conjure up the perfect fortress for an American president, they might dream up something like Mar-a-Lago. Secret Service agents patrol every corridor, the latest surveillance tech hums in the background, and security costs run into the millions. Yet, against all odds, the walls keep being breached, not by professional spies, but by ordinary citizens, ambitious activists, and sometimes starry-eyed would-be suitors. Welcome to America's most persistent security headache. Let's zoom in on a muggy Tuesday night in Palm Beach. Anthony Thomas Reyes, just 23 years old and thousands of miles from home, scales the perimeter wall at Mar-a-Lago. With alarms blaring, security teams react instantly. Yet when he's apprehended, his story is not one of malice or espionage. He's there to spread the gospel and, in a plot twist fit for a romantic comedy, ask for the president's granddaughter's hand in marriage. It's not even his first time. Each incident like this seems more surreal than the last, but they all beg a serious question. Why do these breaches keep happening at one of the most fortified homes in America? To answer that, we need to peel back the layers of history and symbolism that make Mar-a-Lago so unique. The Grand Estate was erected in the 1920s by Marjorie Merriweather Post, at a time when America's elite saw opulence as a statement of influence. The estate's 126 rooms are adorned with priceless antiques and shimmering chandeliers, a playground for the ultra-wealthy, but not exactly a bunker. When Donald Trump bought Mar-a-Lago in 1985, he transformed it into a members-only club, adding more glamour, but not necessarily more security. For years it operated as an exclusive oasis, hedges trimmed high, security guards in crisp uniforms, and a discreet network of cameras keeping an eye on Palm Beach's socialites. Everything changed the moment Trump took office. Suddenly, Mar-a-Lago wasn't just a private club, it was a working hub for the president, a backdrop for international diplomacy, and a temporary White House. The Secret Service moved in, bringing with them layers of security that the original designers could never have imagined. New barriers sprouted around the property. Patrol cars became a permanent fixture. Surveillance was intensified, with high-resolution cameras and even radar systems designed to spot intruders before they ever set foot on the estate. The airspace above Mar-a-Lago was tightly controlled during presidential visits. Drones and small aircraft were kept miles away, enforced by steep fines. Yet, as the security apparatus grew, so did the allure of the challenge. For some, breaching Mar-a-Lago became a statement, a way to capture the headlines or highlight a cause. In 2019, the property endured a series of high-profile intrusions that exposed critical cracks in its armor. Two Chinese nationals, Zijie Li and Yujing Zhang, managed to slip through security, setting off a frantic review and overhaul of procedures. Zhang, in particular, sparked alarm by carrying a haul of electronic devices, prompting concerns about espionage and the vulnerability of not just the physical estate, but its digital nerve center as well. These incidents forced a reckoning. The cost of protecting Mar-a-Lago skyrocketed. Each presidential visit now demands approximately $3 million in security expenses, split between federal agencies and local Palm Beach authorities. In just the past year, the county has invested $500,000 in new perimeter cameras, sensors, and ground-based radar. The Secret Service added a layer of psychological defense, employing behavioral experts to monitor for signs of obsession or instability among those who might pose a threat. Predictive policing algorithms, fueled by historical incident reports and social media chatter, try to forecast the next potential breach before it happens. Yet the paradox remains. Every new security enhancement seems to prompt more sophisticated attempts to defeat it. Since 2021, Mar-a-Lago's insurance premiums have surged by 60%, a sign of both the increasing value at risk and the frequency of security incidents. For every breach, there's a cost, not just in dollars, but in reputation. The estate's image as a safe haven for the elite is repeatedly tested, and every trespasser becomes a headline, a meme, a talking point for critics. What makes Mar-a-Lago especially challenging to secure is its dual identity. It's not simply a residence or a government building, it's a stage for political theater, a playground for the wealthy, a rallying point for supporters, and a flashpoint for protesters. On any given day, the property may host dignitaries, celebrities, or hundreds of club members, all expecting seamless access and an air of exclusivity. Security must operate invisibly so as not to disrupt the luxurious atmosphere, but visibly enough to deter would-be intruders. Too much visible security, and the club risks alienating its clientele. Too little, and the next breach is inevitable. This balancing act extends to the digital realm as well. Cybersecurity has become as crucial as guards and cameras. Eva Wolf, a prominent cybersecurity consultant, notes that protecting digital assets and communications is paramount for high-profile residences, requiring robust cybersecurity measures. Mar-a-Lago's IT team isn't just patching software. They're conducting regular penetration tests, hiring outside firms to probe for weaknesses, and monitoring social media around the clock for signs of coordinated plots. In a world where a cyber attack can be launched from half a world away, the estate's defenses must be as sophisticated as any Fortune 500 companies. And yet, as any security expert will tell you, technology alone isn't enough. The human factor is often the weakest link. Fatigue, routine complacency, or a simple lapse in judgment can open the door to disaster. Andrew Lowry, who specializes in managing the affairs of ultra-high net worth individuals, points out that tailored approaches are necessary. No two families and no two estates face exactly the same threats. Training, vigilance, and adaptability are key. Sometimes the breaches are almost comical. A dinner guest who overstays their welcome, a tourist obsessed with presidential memorabilia, or a crusader on a mission to deliver a heartfelt message. Other times the risks are deadly serious, especially in light of recent political polarization and threats against public figures. The Secret Service's job isn't just to stop intruders, it's to anticipate every scenario, from the desperate to the truly dangerous. Bruce Hoffman, a terrorism expert, has argued that high-profile locations remain attractive targets for individuals seeking notoriety or wishing to make a political statement. In response, Mar-a-Lago's security playbook has grown more sophisticated. Today, the estate is monitored by an array of ground-based radar, night vision cameras, and sensor-laden fences. The Secret Service has begun experimenting with AI-powered surveillance systems that can not only record, but actually analyze human movement and facial expressions, flagging anything that deviates from the norm. The future may bring biometric access points, where fingerprints, facial scans, or even gait recognition determine who can enter. Every new technology offers another layer of defense, but also new challenges. Systems can be hacked, data can be misinterpreted, and false alarms can become a costly distraction. With every advance, thorny legal and ethical questions emerge. Where is the line between necessary security and invasion of privacy? How do you enforce trespassing laws fairly when motivations vary from delusion to protest to criminal intent? Legal scholar Alan Dershowitz has observed that while trespassing laws are strictly enforced at Mar-a-Lago, the underlying motivations present complex legal and ethical challenges. The law must adapt, but so must public attitudes about what constitutes a real threat. The escalation in security spending raises its own set of issues. Is the ever-increasing investment sustainable? Or does each new breach simply trigger an endless arms race, one that can never fully guarantee safety? Some experts suggest that the visibility of Mar-a-Lago, its celebrity status, makes it an irresistible target, and that no amount of technology can fully erase that risk. After all, history is filled with examples of fortified locations being breached by creativity and sheer determination. Drawing parallels to other high-profile estates and embassies, it's clear that the challenge Mar-a-Lago faces is not unique. In the 20th century, the residences of monarchs and heads of state were constantly being tested by political movements, revolutionaries, and, in some cases, determined fans. The rise of social media in the 21st century has only amplified these risks. Motivated individuals can now coordinate, publicize, and even live stream their escapades to millions within seconds, putting further strain on traditional security models. Looking ahead, the next era of security at Mar-a-Lago and similar locations will undoubtedly be shaped by technology and psychology working in tandem. Imagine a property where AI constantly learns from each incident, updating threat profiles in real time, and where behavioral analysts sift through digital traces to spot warning signs long before someone ever nears the gate. Yet, with this sophistication comes new vulnerabilities, the potential for algorithmic bias, concerns about civil liberties, and the ever-present shadow of cyber warfare. As Eva Wolf argues, the more connected a property becomes, the more doors it opens to digital intruders. Some predict that future upgrades at Mar-a-Lago will include fully integrated AI-driven surveillance grids, biometric entry for every guest and staff member, and even drones patrolling the skies above. Stricter penalties for trespassing may dissuade some, but for others, the risk and notoriety are part of the appeal. The psychology of the thrill seeker is tough to defeat. Sometimes the challenge is its own reward. Meanwhile, privacy advocates worry that over-policing could damage the very atmosphere of luxury and freedom that makes clubs like Mar-a-Lago so attractive. So, what lessons can we draw from this ongoing saga? The reality is that no fortress, no matter how high its walls or advanced its cameras, can be made truly impenetrable. Security is not a final destination, but a perpetual process, a cycle of assessment, adaptation, and investment. Whether you run a global business, protect your family home, or simply guard your online life, the basics remain the same. Stay vigilant, invest in both people and technology, and never underestimate the power of creativity on either side of the equation. For Mar-a-Lago and other high-profile targets, the coming years will be defined by a delicate balancing act. The goal is not perfection, but resilience, a system robust enough to deter most threats, and flexible enough to adapt when the unexpected occurs. Each breach may sting, but it also offers a lesson, a chance to raise the bar and close another gap. And yes, the price of chasing security is steep. Even hidden costs, like soaring insurance premiums, underscore just how high the stakes have become. In the end, Mar-a-Lago's story serves as both a warning and a guide. Fortify your defenses, but don't rely on walls alone. Remember that threats evolve, and so must your response. And above all, never lose sight of the human factor, because sometimes the greatest vulnerabilities are not in the systems, but in the people who use them. If this peek behind the security curtain has sparked your curiosity, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts below. How would you safeguard a place that's equal parts palace, fortress, and stage? Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, in security,